So if I want to do a serious talk, do I need to be like Tim Pool and say, man, it's complicated? Because it is a little bit complicated. You have articles regarding the very woke and very interesting Birds of Prey movie that's coming out, and I'll show you a trailer tomorrow, which you won't believe just how bad is it. It's something that I guess the only reason they would put it out is to shame the guy who did it. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Today, I want to talk about something really important about sexuality in movies and video games, because we see a lot of companies that are doing their best in order to remove sexuality from their video games. We see it in Mortal Kombat. We'll see it in Diablo 4. I understand the men there are built like Egyptian gods, but the women are covered up from head to toe. We see it in Birds of Prey and in other movies where the idea is to remove all sexualization from women. They call it hypersexualization, but in reality, they want to remove everything that has to do with sex. And a lot of people are complaining. Now, the people that are complaining, they're called man babies. In reality, they are customers. They are people that would have bought a ticket to see your movie, but they're not interested in it more. And I guess the marketing tactic, which is very stunning and brave, and we're going to see if it works out for them, is to shame these people, to make articles where you cherry pick a couple of individuals that are saying things like, this movie will not have monetary success because my penis is unsatisfied. And your idea is that out there in the world, there is a group of righteous individuals, of decent human beings that are going to see your movie being attacked, and they're going to go and watch the movie to stick it to the man babies, to stick it to the racists, to stick it to the misogynists or whatever. And other companies have tried this approach, like Ghostbusters with the female version, and it turns out that it doesn't work. And I do think that this movie is going to be a colossal bomb at the box office. It's not going to do anything. And there are various reasons for it. Now, one of the arguments that I have heard from people is that why is it that Alan Ripley or Sarah Connor from The Terminator, women that weren't sexualized, why is it that people watch those movies and they're not going to watch female Ghostbusters or Birds of Prey? The reason is very simple. Those movies had plot. Those movies had a very good story, and it managed to attract an audience regarding the people who wanted to see how the story would unfold. No one is that passionate about the story from Birds of Prey, just like no one is that passionate about the story from Charlie's Angels or the story from Transformers. These are brainless movies that are designed to offer nothing but a short burst of entertainment, so that I can take my girlfriend to the movies for 2 hours and have a blast, and I'll forget everything about the movie that I have seen in a couple of days, if not even hours. So the difference between this and Terminator, or the difference between this and The Matrix. The Matrix, in my opinion, didn't have a sexualized or, very attractive woman like Transformers did. But I remember watching it for the story. I remember even after The Matrix was over and months after, people were still talking about it. It was a cultural phenomenon because you had people with talent that could write and create a very compelling narrative, and it was very pleasant to watch. Charlie's Angels is the opposite, or Transformers is the opposite. People go there and expect three things: explosions, fights, and titties. That's the audience. That's the core audience. Those are the people that created that. That is, if you want that IP, those are the people attached to that IP. So don't make a sequel of Charlie's Angels and remove the tits, because you literally removed 80% of the content from that movie. Alternatively, if you were to make an Alien sequel or a Terminator sequel and just fill it with tits and beautiful women, it's still not going to sell. The fan base is going to be upset because the fan base isn't there in order to consume that type of product. Now, the idea that you can give a woman a baseball bat or a mallet, and that's feminist empowerment, and that somehow is going to attract a female audience, again, it's a really big, ballsy decision on your part, but it's going to fail because women aren't attracted into this type of thing. When I say women, I mean the market, the general population of women. It doesn't seem that this is what women want to see, because otherwise Charlie's Angels would be a success. There are movies that are strictly driven by the women that put their butts in seats and have to drag their boyfriends forcefully into the cinema. And those movies are things like 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, or even Lucifer, the TV show. Lucifer, the TV show, has a massive female audience. Another example would be True Blood. Again, massive female audience. And the reason for this is that they have that male character, that male lead that's really packed and very charismatic, has all of the positive things that women look for in a man, courageous, good leader, wealthy, like every one of these things, and he looks good, and that's what women want to see. And it's like an interesting romance novel or whatever. But those are the movies that are catering to women. The idea of making a woman hyper violent and taking toxic masculinity and giving it to a female character isn't what attracts women. And I'm not saying this because I'm just giving my opinion. I'm saying this based on seeing movies that have done this in the past and have not managed to create an audience of women like 50 Shades of Grey did. Like, for example, take another movie which did really well, The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games was a movie that attracted both male and female audience. But the main character wasn't suffering from toxic masculinity. She was still feminine. She was still having female traits. And a lot of the women that went there went in order to see the relationship, the love interest that she had, and the romance between her boyfriend and the guy that was paired with her. I forgot the names of the people, but anyway. Other movies that are really well are the ones that Marvel is doing. Like Marvel is having very had, because now I don't know if they're going to go in the same direction, but they had very sexy and alluring male characters that women liked. So you had Thor, the guy that had the hair and women were just fainting and foaming in the cinema looking at him. You had Iron Man that was cocky, very charismatic, wealthy. You had Loki. I almost said Locke. You had Loki. But those were the male characters that women were there. And you had like the relationships and the emotional journey that the heroes were taking. And then you had fights. And it's very interesting because for men watching a Marvel movie and going on forums, you would see men talk about how boring the emotional journey was, and the bullshit romance, and for them that was filler, and the fights were important. And then you would go to a forum that women would go, and for them the fights were filler and less important, and the romance was the thing. So what I'm trying to say is that these people really do not understand humanity, I would say. They do not understand marketing. They do not understand the difference of the gender. They think that you can sell a product to humans, and that is completely false. Humans are spread into different demographics, into different beliefs and wants. And for example, there are people out there who will give you money if you satisfy their penis. Now, you don't need to show pornography in order to satisfy their penis, but you can have a woman like Megan Fox that can sell a completely bullshit movie with a really bad story that only has a couple of special effects and her tits. And people are willing to pay money for it. Now, the question is, what do you want as a movie producer? Do you want to make money? Or do you want to make politics? If you want to make politics, congratulations. I'm pretty sure Birds of Prey is going to have its own journey into misogyny and sexism and blah, blah, blah. It's not going to be very profitable. And this is another thing, like saying that the movie is about misogyny. I do not care about the subject. Can you believe that? Like, I know I'm not a misogynist. The women around me do not consider me a misogynist. I've never been called in real life as such. So why would I care about this? It's like a movie about fishing. I don't care about fish. So I'm not into that. Why would I go see it? Like, you're asking for my hard-earned money. Like, I work hard for my money. And you're asking me to give you to them to talk to me about a subject that I don't care about. Meanwhile, a movie like The Joker that shows how a man is incapable of finding a job, about how he lacks any type of skill that society requires, and all of these misfortunes that he goes through that eventually ends up driving him insane. Yeah, that's something that I can relate to. That is something fucked up. Like, I think every day, if my job doesn't work here on YouTube, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? That's a problem. I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out. But it's something on my mind, and a lot of people are thinking about it. So that's a relative topic. That's something that if you make a movie on, I would be more than happy to go see it. But if you just show me a movie about misogyny and a girl with a mallet that doesn't even have tits and just beats, okay, that is for someone else. Someone else should go see it, not me. Do let me know what you think, and I'll read what you guys say in the comment sections.